Welcome to Dr. Pam Unleashed, where we skip the gimmicks and get real about what helps pets actually thrive. I'm Dr. Pam, functional medicine vet, symptom decoder, and your guide to a vibrant, no BS pet care. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Dr. Pam Unleashed. This is Gut Check, our mini-series exploring your dog's gut, the single most important factor in your dog's health. In episode 1, we talked about the 5 things that the gut controls: immunity, behavior, skin, energy, and longevity. In episode 2, we walked through the deadly progression from dull coat to immune meltdown, connection that few vets make. Today, we're talking about hope. We're talking about the solution. Remember Brady from episode 2, the pemphigus case with the microbiome collapse? This was the one we almost lost. Let me tell you where he is today and how we got him there. The foundation concept. To understand how we saved Brady, you need to understand something fundamental about how the body works when it's depleted. I heard this saying the other day: starvation makes survival decisions. Of course, this person was talking about emotional starvation, but the concept really does apply to the physical body as well. Think about it this way. When your dog's body isn't getting what it needs, when nutrients aren't being extracted, when the gut is failing, the body doesn't shut down all at once. It prioritizes. It makes choices about what gets resources and what doesn't. The coat, that's cosmetic. Skin health, non-essential. Behavior, energy, those slip next. The body is desperately trying to keep the vital organs functioning. Everything else is negotiable. And here's what most people don't understand. You can't reverse that by guessing. For the first part of my career, I practiced traditional veterinary medicine. I did what I was taught: steroids for skin issues, antibiotics for infections, drugs for symptoms. Then about 25 years ago, I started asking different questions. I started learning functional medicine, studying the gut, understanding root causes. And here's the thing about gut issues. They're incredibly complex. Each dog is different. Every case has layers upon layers upon layers. So yes, sometimes in those early years of holistic practice, we'd try an approach and it would work beautifully. Other times, not so much, and we'd have to pivot. Move one step at a time and learn from what the body is trying to tell us. That's not guessing. That's clinical experience building over decades. But even with 25 years of holistic and functional medicine under my belt, even with all the experience and skill, I was still missing something. I couldn't see what was happening in the gut. I was reading the signals the body was trying to send, but I didn't have the full picture. But Brady didn't have time for me to work one step at a time. When you're facing microbiome collapse, every day matters. Here's the thing. You can't also throw generic solutions at these problems. You can't just pick a probiotic off the shelf and hope it works. You can't just switch foods and cross your fingers. You have to work in the right order. In functional medicine, we say that you work the north to get to the south. That means fixing the upper digestive tract, the stomach, the biochemistry, the foundation, before you address the microbiome in the lower gut. Because if the foundation is broken, nothing you build on top of it will hold. Most vets don't work this way. They treat symptoms. They see skin issues, they give steroids. They see diarrhea, they give antibiotics. They see anxiety, they give drugs. They're not addressing the root. In the early part of my career, I wasn't either. I was doing what I was taught. So how did we get Brady from the edge of death to thriving again? The testing, seeing the invisible. We ran a test on Brady that changed everything. The VDI Labs GI microbiome panel. This is how I knew Brady had microbiome collapse. I have the paperwork to prove it. But here's what gets interesting. It's not just about diagnosing the problem. It's about having a roadmap to fix it. Want to know what makes this test different than everything else out there? First, it shows bacterial populations, not just whether bacteria are present, but which ones. The good bacteria, the bad bacteria, and what we call the opportunistic bloomers. Those are the ones sitting in the wings waiting for the chance to take over the world. Second, and this is a game changer, It shows fungal populations. Most microbiome tests completely miss this. They're only looking at bacteria, but fungi play a huge role in gut health. And if you're not seeing them, you're missing a massive part of the picture. Third, it tells you how the current diet is working or not working for a specific dog. Think of it this way. You might be feeding what you think is a great diet, but is that dog's gut actually able to extract and utilize all those nutrients? The test shows you. It tells you why it's not working and what needs to change. Now, here's what I want you to understand about this. VDI's adaptive clinical AI interprets all this data. They tell me what's there. They tell me what it means. But I design the treatment protocol. They give me the map and I provide the strategy because data without action is totally useless. The Revitalized Protocol. At Revitalizing Pet Care, we have a very specific approach when we see the test results. We call it the Revitalized Protocol. We test, we clear, we rebuild, we revitalize. Let me show you what that looks like with Brady. Brady's transformation, stage 1, test and clear. Here's where Brady started. Pemphigus, that's the autoimmune skin disease, behavioral issues, adrenal problems. His previous dermatologist had him on heavy drugs for a long period of time, and his microbiome collapsed. I ran the VDI panel, and there it was, confirmed on paper, microbiome collapse. We almost lost him at one point. His body was giving up. So we started with stage 1, test and clear. The test gave us the roadmap. Now we needed to clear the battlefield. Here's the truth about gut pathogens. They're smart. They don't just sit out in the open where antibiotics and antimicrobials can get to them. They build protective structures called biofilms. I call these housing projects, bacterial communities where the bad guys hunker down and hide. And if you don't tear down those housing projects, the bacterial populations just rebuild the moment you stop treatment, and you're back to square one in weeks. This is where ozone comes in. Ozone disrupts biofilms. It clears pathogens in a way that doesn't create resistance. It tears down those housing projects so the bad bacteria just can't wait you out and rebuild. For Brady, we used rectal ozone to start clearing his gut. We were preparing the ground for what came next. Brady's transformation, stage 2, rebuild. As we tapered Brady's steroids down, and let me tell you, battling with a resistant dermatologist while trying to save a dog's life is its own challenge. But I digress. We moved to stage 2, rebuild. Based on Brady's specific test results, we designed targeted protocols using products from functional medicine companies that specialize in microbiome work, not generic probiotics off the shelf, specific formulations for Brady's specific issues. And here's where sometimes knowing what to do isn't enough if the person holding the leash won't do it or if another practitioner is working against you. But Brady's mom, she was all in. She trusted the process. And every time I see him now, he gets better and better. His skin is healing. His behavior is stabilizing. His energy's coming back. We're getting more and more of this boy back. It's not immediate when you're that far down to start with. But we're doing it. We're getting him back. Brady's transformation, stage 3, revitalize. The next couple of weeks, we're doing the final piece, stage 3, revitalize. We're doing a fecal microbiota transplant, or FMT. Let me break that down. Think of it like a super probiotic. You're not adding one strain of bacteria. You're transplanting a whole entire healthy ecosystem, hundreds and thousands of bacterial strains, a complete thriving community. We're taking a healthy donor's microbiome and giving it to Brady to fully restore what was lost. This is how you bring a dog back from microbiome collapse. Test, clear, rebuild, and revitalize. This is the roadmap, and Brady is living proof that even in stage 5, even in complete microbiome collapse, this isn't a death sentence. My boys, optimization even when healthy. But here's the thing, you don't have to wait until you're at Brady's level to use this test. I tested both of my Jack Russell Terriers, not because they were sick, but because I wanted to optimize. These are my dogs. I'm not asking you to do anything that I haven't done myself. Let me tell you about Jet. He's 5.5 years old, my good old boy who listens to everything I say, except when it comes to barking. Lord have mercy. Jet had a rabies vaccine reaction years ago. Remember episode 2 when I said don't vaccinate during immune dysregulation? Jet's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about that. That vaccine pushed him towards that immune cascade that we talked about, but I jumped to the rescue early on. He's been on a really good whole food diet for years, high quality, nutrient dense. But the test showed something I never would have guessed: mild dysbiosis, low bacterial count. His gut lacked the density needed for optimal function, low short-chain fatty acid production, those beneficial short-chain fatty acids we talked about in episode 1. And here's the kicker: vitamin D insufficient. Remember episode 1 when we talked about vitamin D and the immune function? Jet's results connected those dots. Plus, he's showing arthritis markers, early warning signs that his body is starting to struggle. Even on a great diet, the test revealed he needed more diversity, specifically more food diversity, more vegetables and soluble fiber. I would have never known that without the data. Then there's River. He's 3.5, my mischievous one. The classic Jack Russell terrier. River's younger and healthier. His dysbiosis index was normal. His bacterial count was good. But even he showed low short-chain fatty acid production. Want to know the crazy part? Even in a healthy dog, there's room to optimize. The test doesn't just catch problems. It shows you how to make good even better. Fecal transplants, when and why? I mentioned fecal transplants for Brady. Let me paint you a picture of what that actually is. FMT is like transplanting an entire health garden into soil that's been depleted. You're not adding one plant, you're adding a whole ecosystem. The soil, bacteria, the fungi, the beneficial organisms that make the garden thrive. We use FMT for severe cases, microbiome collapses like Brady, situations where we need to completely reset and restore. I tested both Jet and River to see if they could be potential donors, and that's how detailed this testing is. It can tell me if their microbiome is healthy enough to share. But here's what you need to know. FMT isn't needed for everyone. For mild cases like Jet, dietary adjustments and targeted protocols are enough. This test tells us when FMT is indicated versus when it's overkill. We're not guessing. We're working from the data. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. The microbiome is the center of the universe, period, full stop. But you can't fix what you can't see. For years, we've been guessing in veterinary medicine, throwing things at the wall, hoping they stick, treating symptoms instead of root causes. Now, we have a map. We can see exactly what's happening in your dog's gut. We can see how their diet is working or not working. We can design protocols specific to them, not generic, not one size fits all, specific to that dog. This is the Revitalize Protocol. We test, we clear, we rebuild, we revitalize. This is how we stop that cascade from episode 2. We catch it at stage 1, the dull coat, the pigment changes. We don't let it get to stage 5. And even when it does get to stage 5, even when the microbiome collapses, it's not over. Brady is living proof. Every time I see him, he gets better. We're bringing him back from the edge. This is how we rewrite your dog's health story. Not with guessing, not with generic solutions, but with precision and data, with protocols designed specifically for that individual dog. If your dog is showing any of those warning signs from episode 2, the dull coat, the skin issues, the food sensitivities, the low energy, don't wait. Don't guess. Don't assume it's just aging or just allergies or just how they are. Get the data, get the map, create a plan that actually works because your dog deserves better than trial and error. Don't forget to download your pocket guide for this episode from the Hero.fm app. It's got actionable next steps you can take today. This wraps up our Gut Check series. But remember that ozone therapy I mentioned with Brady? Next time on Dr. Pam Unleashed, we're starting a brand new series, Ozone, the Oxygen Revolution. What it is, why it works, and why your conventional vet probably has never heard of it. You won't want to miss this. This is Dr. Pam, and this is Dr. Pam Unleashed. Thank you for listening.